In this documentary, we will be looking into the struggles women face in the music industry. Why is it more difficult for women? What sexism do they face in the industry? And what can we work towards changing in the future to make it a more inclusive space? UNSILENCED, Women in Music. Men lead this industry, leaving women struggling to succeed, and those who do well regularly receiving sexism and discrimination and hearing that they only got this far due to their looks. Many music venues and shops are trying to push for equality with dedicated sections and days for female artists. But this is also an issue built deep into the creative process and fan-based parts of the industry. Women are constantly looked down upon and ignored, leading to genuine talent being undervalued. Gender plays a big part in whether you get listened to. If a man and woman came forward with the same idea, it is likely that the woman would get ignored and the man would get praised. This misogyny is unfair and can cause people to give up their dreams of working in music. Sexualization is another big issue, with women being expected to look and dress a certain way, with labels and directors pushing this onto them. This can encourage exploitation and harassment, leaving women feeling even more vulnerable. I reached out to a singer who will be discussing the struggles they've faced as a woman in music.
I'm Coral, I'm a singer, I sing for a band.
What's the band called?
Empress Reversed.
What was the first step you made into music?
I would say, obviously I've been learning my whole life, I've been in choirs, I've been in orchestras, but I think my first real step was when I came to uni. I reached out to my first band, but they were not the most open to having a female lead singer, so that would then be my first time performing live with my current band.
How has your music evolved since you started?
A lot. I am a much better lyricist now. First of all, I've ventured out into doing like heavier vocal styles, and just being more open with it, because it's very difficult when you first start out, because you kind of, again, as a woman, have to be a bit more clean and pretty about it, because that's the kind of stereotype that you get. But I've ventured more out into like heavier stuff now, which I think is a lot more fun.
What struggles have you faced as a woman in the industry?
Well, like I said, there's a lot of stereotypes that go on in this industry. You've got to be clean, you've got to be pretty. A lot of the time, you don't get listened to if you are a frontman and a woman, which I've realised. They don't really like to listen to you because they think that your ideas are stupid, because you're a stupid little girl. Oftentimes they'll come to the same conclusions you do, but think it was their own ideas. So that's not fun.
How did you counter some of those struggles?
I disbanded. I completely decided I'm not going to go anywhere with this band. That was my first year band. It wasn't going anywhere because everyone kept talking over me, even though I was the one writing all the songs. So I got my new band. I worked with mostly other women. I don't know, it's a difficult thing to overcome because you've just kind of got to push that barrier and not really think about it.
Have you noticed changes in the music industry recently, especially for women?
I think it's getting better, I think, slowly, because obviously in like pop music and more mainstream styles of music, obviously they've got like the Grammys and stuff, a lot more female artists are winning now and being represented, and I think that's really cool. But there's still stereotypes. For example, I know Sabrina Carpenter was nominated, I think she won, and a lot of people online are just saying she did it because she looks sexy and that's about it, which is completely unfair because she's an incredible vocalist.
What advice would you give other young women who are starting out?
I think you've just got to not really think too much about the barriers because they're going to be there. You're going to get pushed back because you're a woman. It's unfair and it's unreasonable, but it happens. You just kind of have to get past it. You've got to think about, obviously, your own female inspiration, the other women you know who pursue music. It's difficult, and you've got to be strong-willed to get through it.
Have you ever felt the need to prove yourself more because you're a woman?
Yes. Absolutely, yes. It's hard because there's a line. There's a line between knowing you need to look a certain way because you're a woman. It's kind of obvious, especially on alternative music, that guys can kind of just go up and look however they want. They can say whatever they want. They can pretty much do whatever they want because no one's going to go against them. That's just kind of a thing. The alternative industry has a reputation for the kinds of front men that bands have, especially in the men, and it's underrepresented in alternative music to have female frontmen. It's frustrating.
What's an example of sexism that you've faced in music?
Definitely my first band again. Like I said, it was so frustrating because I would obviously write songs. I would show them to my band. Essentially, I got kicked out of my own practices. I would organize everything. I was my band's manager, and yet if I brought them a song, they would just play without me. They wouldn't listen to me. I had ideas, they wouldn't listen. It's somewhat to do with being a vocalist as well, because when you don't play an instrument in your band, they kind of don't respect you as much. That also comes in with the need to prove myself, because as a female vocalist, people just don't like to listen to you. They think you don't have any musical experience, and they think that it's not as good as everyone else's because you're a woman, because people kind of think it's easier to sing if you're a girl, so it doesn't take that much effort. So yeah, they just kind of don't listen to you. I wasn't listened to, and I know that. I think there was one specific practice I had brought a new song to work on, and they just started playing a song that they knew I couldn't sing, so I would just sit there in the background.
How do you stay motivated?
That's a difficult one, because I'm also mentally ill, so it's hard, it's tough. I think my main motivator is working with other people. And listening to other people's music, because a lot of my lyrical inspiration comes from mostly female lyricists like Mitski, Stand Atlantic, Honey Revenge, Daisy Grenade. I've got my inspo playlist and it's mostly all women. My motivation comes from that because they have similar experiences that I do. I find it very motivating that other people have similar issues that I do, and I can write about them too. It's one of my coping mechanisms. It keeps me sane.
Thank you so much for doing this interview. Check out Empress Reverse.
It's empressreverse.band on Instagram, and I think it's empress.reversedband on TikTok.
The gender gap is shocking, with less than a third of top-selling artists and 14% of songwriters being women, according to the UK Parliament. This is appalling and needs to change. Although this will likely always be an issue due to how deeply this is built into the industry, there are ways we can encourage prevention. Normalise women in every role, stand up to those discriminating, support and listen to female artists, and think twice before posting negative comments online. Thank you for watching.